Hi, and welcome to the bar. Today we're going to be talking about the perceptions of value, and it's one of the issues that I find I come across pretty much all the time in all the clients I work with and the companies that I work with who have portfolios of change or projects that are happening at any given time. One of the issues is that most of the project managers that are out there, project managers, program managers, PMO leads, etc., have done the Prince 2 courses, they have learned different methodologies, and so they tend to have a sort of badge of honor around project management, program management, etc., that sits around them, an aura that sits around them. And the problem with that is that often that is not really, doesn't align with how other people in the business perceive the need for a project management capability. So therefore there is a question as to why do we have this, why do we need this, what's the point of having project management? We can just do this ourselves, we don't need it. And it's difficult, it is tricky, because people then sort of perceive project management as an overhead, as making things more slow, possibly, rather than speeding things up by being more methodical and doing things in a structured way. So I've got sort of 3 tips really for how to challenge that scenario. First one is to form relationships. So forget your project management title, your program management title, focus on your key stakeholders in the business and go and form personal relationships with them. Have a coffee with them, 20 minutes, once a week, whatever it might be, but actually form a relationship with them where they see you for who you are, as opposed to the person with this suit of armor around them that says project manager, program manager, or whatever. The second is that in the work that you do and the way that you present your information back to the business, focus primarily on outcomes, because that's really all they're interested in. So don't get too hung up on the flight path or the methodology. Try to avoid evangelizing agile or waterfall or whatever it might be, and just focus on the outcomes, because that's generally all people are interested in. When are we going to hit the outcomes, and therefore when are we going to deliver the benefits, and what, how much will it cost maybe as well, and what are the risks? And then the final thing is just keep it simple. The more you can keep your communications simple, your reporting simple, your interface with your key stakeholders simple, the more you can keep your methodology simple, the better. I find often when I say that as a consultancy in my business, we don't evangelize specific methodology, we work with all methodologies, I find that's often much better received than going in and saying we are agile specialists, or we are specific, we have a specific methodology for doing X, Y, Z. We go in a much more tailored way, saying we can suit the methodology to the culture of the business and the way we operate, but our primary focus is on keeping delivery simple, which is generally what people want to hear. So those are my 3 tips in the bar. The other thing I was going to say is that I have a LinkedIn profile. I am so happy at this stage in my life to listen to any of the issues or challenges that you might be facing. I'll always try and give you a different opinion, a second option, and just use me as a bouncing board if you want to. If you're facing a specific challenge or set of challenges, I'm more than happy to try and help if I can. Thanks very much.